if you can afford private school as a parent and you don't see a problem with that, you can do it, man. It's no pressure. But if you feel like you're just doing it because of the culture, because your kid seems more smart, or you also gain oranyana as a parent, don't do it. Just do it because you want to and you can. Taking your kid to a private school. But if you can't, a public school is still cool. I went to public school and I know I'm not dumb. You get, like, I'm not the intellect, but I understand knowledge and stuff like that. So yeah, man.
Y.A.D. Totoro.
What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing good. Today we have a lit video. We are alienly in the building. Is private school a waste in 2026? Hey man, personally, I went to a public school, but hey man, let's see what they got going on. Let's all enjoy the vid.
If you want to invest in your kids' future, do not send them to a private school, okay? It's not worth it. Send them to a good public school instead. Private school fees in South Africa, the most expensive schools are 400,000 Rand a year. And some of you may argue that those are border schools. So if we're talking about only private day schools, then the most expensive ones are 275,000 Rand a year. Comparatively, the most expensive public school is 78,000 Rand a year. That's a 200,000 Rand difference. There's no difference between a good public school and a private school in terms of how well you're going to do in university, whether you can think critically, whether you're going to enter into the workforce and how much money you're going to earn. Or when it comes to I
won't even lie, man. Like back then, while we were in high school, it seemed, like it's people who went to private schools, they seemed a bit special, but as you step outside, you finish high school and you're approaching life and there's no difference, to be honest, so, but it's people's choices, you get what I'm saying? But the parents, or to anyone who's suggesting to go to a private school, with education and the access, to certain things, it doesn't matter if you went to a public or private high school, to be honest, because at the end of the day, matric certificate is still the same. It's all the same. So hey man, I'm saying. But another thing, private school, it's a bit safer. Public school in the township, Sekasi, it's rough there. But yeah,
sports or cultural activities in the school, a good public school has all of that stuff. So instead, if you took that 200,000 Rand and invested it for 5 years of your kid's high school education, at the end of it, you've invested R1 million. At an 8% nominal return, which ChatGPT tells me is very conservative, I'll have you know, it would mean that you have now earned 173,000 in interest. If you decide to not touch that money for the next 12 years, because you're going to give your kid this money on their 30th birthday, and let me just tell you, don't give your kid money before that because they're definitely going to spend it, okay? But that would mean that you now have 2 million, okay, 2,956,000 Rand. Now, if your kid withdrew that, they would have to pay capital gains tax, okay, which would roughly amount to 352,000 Rand, but they would still be receiving for their 30th birthday 2.6 million Rand. Now, I don't know about you, okay, and mom and dad, I love you. I loved my 1,000 Rand poetry voucher for my birthday, but you know what I would have really loved? I would have loved 2.6 million Rand. That is how you invest in your kid's future. Now, you could use that money to become some type of venture capitalist, so you could invest in other people's business and see if you earn money off of it. You could invest that money into your own business and start something. You could buy a...
Yeah. Amen. Do I think private schools are useless? No, they are not useless. They are effective to a certain point, but they are not so greater than public schools. You get what I'm saying? Like there's no huge difference. You know, especially when it comes to the education. You feel me? Like it would be so hard to tell when someone went to private and public. You know, because now it's like, does high school really determine who I am as a person? Or do I determine myself with what I learn, what I consume, what I watch? You know, so high school, yeah, it has its own impact, but it doesn't determine. If in private school, it doesn't mean if you know, from public school, it doesn't mean otherwise. Again, it all depends on you eventually, but it's a choice, man. If you can afford private school as a parent and you don't see a problem with that, you can do it, man. It's no pressure. But if you feel like you're just doing it because of the culture, because your kid seems more smart, or you also gain oranyana as a parent, don't do it. You know, just do it because you want to and you can. You know, taking your kid to a private school. But if you can't, a public school is still cool. I went to public school and I know I'm not dumb. You get, like, I'm not the intellect, but like, you know, I understand knowledge and stuff like that. So yeah, man, this private public doesn't determine anything, to be honest.
Homes.
It's in your hands where you wanna be in life.
So then the percentage of your actual earnings every month is not going to rent. Or you could choose to keep the money in the account, and basically, if you want to preserve that capital, you only draw 4 to 5% of it every year. And that would amount to either paying yourself monthly.
Hey, low key, this is a smart move. Instead of, you know, a parent investing too much in high school, you could have just, you know, take the same amount or close to the same amount and just save it for your kid, and like save it to their tertiary, you know, learning, or just invest in their future in general. I feel like that's a more smarter move. I'm not saying high school is not effective, but it's like, for high school there are, you know, alternative ways to do it. Take them to a public school, or I don't know if there are cheaper private schools. If you want private school, take the money, invest in your kid. Down the line, they have millions now. They can start businesses, invest in bigger things. You know, at the age of 18, 19. You feel me?
8,700 or 10,800 Rand a month, which, look, you're not going to be living a life of luxury, but you can use it to pay your rent, pay your groceries, pay your health insurance. That can supplement your monthly income. And that, my friends, is how you give your kids the gift of financial stability.
I saw this post from Upenoel and I see a lot of comments. Mundati, why would you take your child to such an expensive school? You're asking that because you're broke. Like,
yeah, if you can afford, it's cool. And if you can, but there are alternative ways to do it even way more effective. You get what I'm saying?
bro, there's a CEO that got 100 million last year. You want them to worry about the value of 400,000 rands education? Bro, it doesn't even matter.
Sanbanani, after...
Yeah, I mean, if I make like 100 million, spending 100K is nothing to me, you know. But still, it's like, instead of you using this 100K like this, how about you invest it like this to make more money and, you know, make it more useful? You know, at the end of the day, our way is cool. We know you got money to spend, but that doesn't mean waste it though. You feel me? Like, I make 100 million, I'm rich, cool. But you can't just splurge 450,000 thinking that, nah, it's nothing. But if you used it more smarter, you know, it could be a bit more effective.
Our military brother asked this question and he was like, you guys are broke. He knows CEOs who are getting paid this X amount of money. I was asking myself, firstly, let me start by posing this question to people who have attended a private school compared to a public school. those who did well in life, those who are not doing well in life. Tell me what are your thoughts? There are those kids, Pella, that now elder people, they're now old people. They now understand the importance of taking a kid to a private school and the importance of not taking a kid to a private school. In my opinion, let me say, in my perspective, there was a time where, okay, my neighbor's kids, like when we were still going to school, the kids from next door, they used to attend a private school, mind you, and in the meantime I was attending a public school. And the question here now is, how well did they pass their matric? Because this lady, she's asking about high school. She's talking about high school. I think even here panels big talking about high schools, because there are a lot of Saint what call.
Hey, I don't even lie, man. I see these numbers right here. Yeah, these are pretty expensive prices, you know. For a high school, 450,000, 417,000. The lowest is 364,000 per year for a high school. Yeah, if you're rich, you can pay for it, but hey, man, it doesn't make any difference between private and public, bro. We're all going to school, we're all getting a matric certificate, and then yeah, life goes on, man. But if you can afford though, then you can do it, you know.
College and whatever. Even Rodin girls, I think that is the high school in Hilton College. So the question now is that, since you have attended a private school, do you think it's there a need of taking your kid to a private school? Since there is a public school, there are good public schools, you understand? There are those public schools that are not full of kids that are doing what they like. The teachers are doing their jobs, you understand?
I'm from a decent public school. Yeah, I mean, public school kids are gonna do public things. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like, yeah, man, it's like, is this like a must? Is it necessary? I don't think so. If you wanna do it, it's cool. When you got the millions, it's cool. But is there a difference? Like, is this paying this money? Does it make a huge difference, you know, academically between a private school and a public? Nah. You know? Nah.
So there are those good, and please, if you know that good public school, mention them here, because I'm sure there are parents here that are going through a situation that they want to take out their kids out of a private school.
And it basically goes both ways. You know, there are parents where it's like, oh, you know, public school is not safe, I want them to go to a private. Cool. There are parents where they're like, this private school it's not really a huge of a difference, just wasting my money, let me take them to a public school. At the end of the day, as long as it's, you know, more safer, they get like good education, the school is proper. Is there a need for you to spend 500,000 per year? While there are schools out there, I don't think there's a need. But if you can and you want, cool. But it doesn't make you special in any way. It doesn't make your kid more wiser than the kids in public schools. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's where like the perspective shifts for a lot of people. It's like, you went to a private school. Ooh, you know the bombastic words. Bombastic words don't matter. We don't care about bombastic words. You know? But yeah, it's like, doesn't matter, man. Public school, private school. But eventually, you know, the choice is in the parents and people who can afford it. But yeah, you guys can comment down below and tell me what you think. I'm gonna tap in with you. Love you. Take care.